Stop scrolling right now because what Randy Orton did after his latest win wasn't just a celebration, it was a statement. And depending on how you look at it, it was either legendary or downright disrespectful. Picture this. The arena lights are blazing. The crowd is still buzzing from the 3 count. The Viper has just struck again. Another opponent dropped. Another name added to the long list of victims. Randy Orton stands tall in the ring, breathing heavy, eyes cold, soaking in the noise. But instead of walking up the ramp like a typical veteran, instead of posing on the turnbuckle like we've seen 100 times, he grabs something unexpected. A hat. Not just any hat. Chelsea Green's hat. And what happens next? Oh, we're going there. Because that moment, that simple, seemingly harmless act, has the entire wrestling world divided. Was it playful? Was it mocking? Was it the beginning of something bigger? Or was it a message aimed directly at the locker room? Let's break it down. The match itself was classic Orton. Slow, methodical, calculating. Every movement had intent. Every stomp felt personal. You could see that old-school, apex predator mindset creeping back in. No wasted motion. No unnecessary flash. Just pure dominance. And when he hit the RKO, the crowd exploded. Quick question for you. Where does that RKO rank for you all time? Top 5? Top 10? Or is it the best finisher in wrestling history? Drop your answer in the comments. Now here's where things shift. After the referee raises Orton's hand, the camera catches something at ringside, Chelsea Green's hat. Bright. Bold. Impossible to miss. It's been part of her personality, part of her presentation. Almost an extension of her character. And Orton notices it. He pauses, smirks, walks over, and picks it up. The crowd doesn't know how to react at first. There's this half-second of confusion. Then the cheers turn into laughter. Then the laughter turns into that "oh" reaction, the kind you hear when something unexpected is about to happen. He places the hat on his head, slowly, deliberately, and then he poses. Not in a goofy way, not mocking, but in that calm, cold Orton way, like he just conquered not only his opponent, but the entire scene around him. Tell me something, if you were in that arena, would you have cheered or booed? Be honest. Because here's the thing. That moment was layered. On the surface, it looked fun, harmless. A veteran having a little post-match swagger. But in wrestling, nothing is accidental. And Orton knows exactly what he's doing. Chelsea Green has built a reputation around personality, flair, charisma, over-the-top reactions. She commands attention in her own chaotic way. The hat is part of that identity. It's loud, confident, almost theatrical. So when Orton wears it, he's stepping into that spotlight. But he's doing it without changing who he is. He didn't smile big. He didn't dance. He didn't overact. He just stood there, calm, composed, like the most dangerous man in the building, wearing something that shouldn't fit his aura, yet somehow did. That contrast is what made it powerful. And here's the real question. Was this the start of a crossover storyline? Or just a spontaneous moment? Because let's not forget, wrestling thrives on moments like this. Small interactions that spark huge conversations. Social media lit up instantly. Fans split into 2 camps. Camp 1. This is iconic. Orton can make anything cool. Camp 2. Why is he messing with Chelsea Green's gimmick? So where do you stand? But let's zoom out. Randy Orton is not new to sending subtle messages. Throughout his career, he's used body language, timing, and small gestures to create massive impact. Remember how he used to stalk his opponents before an RKO? That slow circling? That tension? He understands psychology better than almost anyone. And that's why this hat moment matters. Because it wasn't random. It happened after a statement win. A dominant win. Orton isn't just back. He's reminding everyone why he's still a main event presence. And what better way to say, I run this place, than by casually borrowing someone else's spotlight and owning it. Think about it. How many superstars could pull that off without it looking awkward? Very few. And that's the brilliance. Now, let's talk about Chelsea Green for a second. She's not someone who fades into the background. She reacts. She escalates. She turns moments into opportunities. So, if you think she's going to ignore this, think again. What if this becomes a running gag? What if she confronts Orton backstage? What if we get a segment where she demands her hat back, and Orton just stares at her in silence? Can you imagine that tension? Drop a comment right now. Do you want to see a backstage confrontation between them? Yes or no? Because whether this was planned or spontaneous, it created buzz. And buzz is currency in wrestling. Let's break down the body language again. Orton didn't rush. He didn't laugh. He didn't wink at the camera. He put the hat on like it was a crown. That's what made it fabulous. Pun intended. It wasn't loud. It was controlled. And control is Orton's entire brand. Now here's something that might anger some fans. There are people saying this overshadowed the match itself. That instead of talking about the performance, we're talking about a hat. But isn't that the point? Moments make memories. You can have a technically perfect match, but if there's no standout moment, what do fans replay? What do they clip? What do they debate? This. That image of Randy Orton in Chelsea Green's hat. And let me ask you something else. Does this prove Orton is more versatile than people give him credit for? For years, critics labeled him as too serious, too safe, too predictable. But moments like this show another layer. Subtle humor, confidence, awareness. He knows exactly how secure he is in his legacy. He doesn't need to protect his image from a playful visual. And that confidence? That's power. Meanwhile, imagine being in the locker room watching this unfold on the monitor. You've got rising stars trying to get TV time. You've got veterans fighting to stay relevant. And Orton walks out, wins, grabs a prop, and suddenly he's trending. That's presence. That's star power. Here's a quick fun one. If another superstar had grabbed that hat instead, who would have made it even more chaotic? Kevin Owens? LA Knight? Maybe The Miz? Comment your pick. But let's talk long-term implications. If WWE leans into this, we could see merchandise. We could see callbacks. We could see a segment that turns into something bigger. Because wrestling history is built on unexpected chemistry. And sometimes it starts with something as simple as a hat. Remember, Orton has always thrived when he's unpredictable. When he's just unhinged enough to make you uncomfortable. This wasn't unhinged. This was calculated mischief. And it felt refreshing. It felt like a veteran enjoying his craft. Now here's where I want to challenge you. Are we overanalyzing this? Was it just a fun, 5-second celebration that the internet blew out of proportion? Or is this the kind of layered storytelling that separates good performers from great ones? Think about it. The crowd reaction, the camera linger, the smirk. Nothing about it screamed accident. And Chelsea Green? You know she's going to respond. Whether on social media or live TV, she won't let that slide quietly. And honestly, she shouldn't. Because if someone took a piece of your character and wore it like a trophy, how would you react? Would you laugh it off? Or would you demand payback? Let's imagine a scenario. Next week, Orton in the ring. Chelsea interrupts. She calls him out. Says the hat represents confidence, flair, personality, things she embodies. And Orton just shrugs. Crowd erupts. Tension builds. Tell me that wouldn't be entertaining. And this is why moments like this matter. They open doors. They create possibilities. They give fans something to debate. And debate drives engagement. Speaking of engagement, I want you to answer this honestly. Did this moment make you like Orton more or less? Because reactions have been extreme. Some fans loved the swagger. Others felt it was unnecessary. But nobody ignored it. And that's the key. Indifference is the enemy in wrestling. Love him or hate him, you're talking about him. Let's also appreciate timing. Orton didn't do this mid-match. He didn't interrupt someone else's segment. He did it after a clean victory, which means the win still stands strong. The celebration just added flavor. It didn't replace the substance. And that balance? That's veteran instinct. There's a reason Orton has lasted this long at the top. He adapts. He evolves. He understands pacing better than most. Now, imagine if this becomes a recurring visual. Every big win a new unexpected twist. What would you want to see next? Another Superstars prop? A parody entrance? Or should he keep it serious from here on out? Drop your fantasy booking ideas below. I read them. Because this is where Ring Rumble thrives, in the speculation, in the what-ifs, in the chaos. Let's also not ignore the subtle branding genius here. Chelsea Green's hat just got more exposure than ever. Fans who didn't pay attention before? Now, they notice. That's cross-pollination. That's shared spotlight. And in a business built on attention, that's invaluable. So maybe, just maybe, this was mutually beneficial. Maybe both stars walk away stronger. Or maybe this is the spark that lights a rivalry no one saw coming. And that unpredictability is what keeps us watching. Before we wrap this up, I want one final answer from you. Was this A, a legendary veteran move? B, a disrespectful spotlight steal? C, a hilarious one-off moment? D, the start of something bigger? Type your letter in the comments. No explanations. Just the letter. Let's see which side wins. Because whether you loved it or hated it, you felt something. And that's what wrestling is supposed to do. Make you react. Make you argue. Make you care. Randy Orton walked into that arena as a legend. He walked out wearing someone else's hat and somehow made it look like a crown. Fabulous? Absolutely. Calculated? Without a doubt. Forgettable? Not a chance. And if this is the energy he's bringing moving forward, the locker room better pay attention. Because when the Viper starts having fun, that's when things get dangerous. Now I'll leave you with this. If you are booking the next chapter of this story, what happens next? Does Chelsea get revenge? Does Orton double down? Or does this become one of those iconic blink-and-you-miss-it moments we talk about years from now? Sound off below. And remember, in this ring, in this business, and on this channel, every small moment can turn into a rumble.